Welcome to We Don't Owe You Shit. It has been a long time. I know y'all missed me. I get it. Calm yourselves down. I'm back now. And so we are going to be trying to keep this as consistent as possible. Y'all do know I have kids and a life, and nobody's paying me to do this. So please don't start bombarding me asking me when the next episode is. It's gonna come. Just know that it's gonna come. It's gonna come. But as it stands, I am shooting to have a new episode every week. What day of the week? Let's just make it a surprise, like a pop-up podcast, if you will. Turn on your notifications and you'll just be so pleasantly surprised when you see me pop up and you're like, oh shit, there's Caden. I get to listen to his lovely voice again, you know? So that's where we're at. We are going back to doing our shout outs. And for our shout outs, it's for the people who interact. So drop a comment. Let us know how you are liking the episodes. If you have any ideas for episodes that you want to hear, topics you want to hear me speak on, anything like that, definitely want to hear from you. But if you want to be featured in a shout out, go ahead and drop a comment below. While you're sitting here listening, you could be dropping a comment. See how easy that is? Also, make sure y'all are sharing. Share this on your platform. I don't care if you have 3.5 followers. Share it anyway. Okay. And tell your friends and your friends' friends and your mom and them. All right. So today we are going to be talking about a conversation that's been happening a lot on social media. We're going to be talking about bisexual Black men. And the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is because I thought that, I don't know, maybe I'm just naive. And I thought that we were on this forward moving trajectory as a society. And I started seeing some videos on TikTok about whether or not women would date Black men, and if them choosing not to date Black bisexual men, and if them choosing not to date Black bisexual men is rooted in biphobia and homophobia. And so, of course, y'all know me. I weighed in. I said my little two piece, and the conversation is seems to be a lot of angry defensive Black women saying that we don't have to date bisexual men if we don't want to. And I feel like there's a big part being missed. And what I've learned as a transgender man myself is that sometimes when we're not put into a situation, when we don't know firsthand what a situation is, we tend to take the humanity out of it. And so, with that being said, I was like, I want people to hear the voices of these Black bisexual men and maybe put some humanity behind um, the conversation, and in that space, maybe get rid of some of the biases that we have. I grew up, being told that bisexual people were greedy, and that was something I had to unlearn. And so let's talk about it and talk about the nuances that go along with bisexuality. Let's talk about the differences that in experiences between what we see, what we know bisexual women tend to go through, and the difference in bisexual men, but specifically bisexual Black men. Because, if you're part of Black culture, you know what toxic masculinity has done to Black men. They can't even eat a banana without saying pause. So, with that, I want to introduce my guests. We have John Brooks, who I don't even remember how we became mutuals on TikTok. I just know that I came across his content and liked all of the things that he was saying. And also, I really liked that there was some bisexual representation happening, because usually when I see bisexual Black men, they say they're bisexual, but they tend to you only see them dating like men. That's what I see on my end. Like I only ever see them dating men, right? Unless we're talking about bisexual transgender men who tend to lean towards mostly dating women and only having sex with men. And so for me, it was so good to see that there were, you know, different dynamics, you know. And so that's what made me reach out to you. So welcome. I'm gonna have John introduce yourself, you know, let us know who you are. Also, please be sure to plug your social media platforms so people know where to follow you.
Yeah, hey, thank you for having me. And actually, you followed me from one of my viral bisexual videos, is how you ended up following me. So that's where we started there. But hello, everyone. My name is John Brooks, 30-year-old Black man living out in New York City. I'm from the Midwest, Kansas City. So if you hear my accent comes out, that's where it's coming from. So but yeah, so my Instagram handle is gonna be the John Brooks Jr. And let me remember what my TikTok handle is. That is gonna be John B the Junior, JR for Junior. Yeah, that's really it about me as far as
Okay.
that's concerned.
Okay. I didn't know you were in what part of New York are you in?
I live in Bushwick, so I live in Brooklyn. I moved here in July of 2021. So I've
Okay,
been
so
here.
you
I
got
it's
there.
like
You
right
got
after COVID.
there. Yeah, you got there after I left. I was living
Oh,
in Williamsburg in Brooklyn for a while, and I also lived in East Flatbush for a minute as well. So yeah, a lot of people don't
yeah,
know
you
that.
was down there. Yeah, you was down there. You was down East Flatbush. That is the neighborhood of Brooklyn. That is down there.
It's like the Caribbean, the Caribbean of Brooklyn. I loved it though because I am Jamaican, so you know I was right at
Oh,
home over there. That food, anyway. See, and this is
get
what I was talking about me.
see, we keep on talking. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
my brother's girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? All right, we was about to keep going, but let's go. We gotta stay on track.
right.
Gotta stay on
Yes.
track.
Yes. See, I was just letting John know that I will start talking about some other shit. Y'all know how I do it. But anyway, let's just dive into the nitty-gritty. So you're a 30-year-old, which is fairly young, black bisexual man. Um, First, before I dive into the questions that I sent you, what when did you realize that you were bisexual and what was that like for you as a black man?
God, it was a journey. It's weird because I came out. I think I came out like 3 or 4 times because I couldn't really figure out like what my sexuality was. Because growing up, all you see is gay people and not gay people.
Yes.
You didn't. There was
Yeah.
no spectrum. Like, oh, well, you heard bisexuality. Ever heard bisexual? But you like, oh, you're bi first, then you're gay, right?
Right. Yep.
So
It was like a gateway.
yeah,
Yeah.
bisexuality is a gateway drug to be fully gay, full
Yes.
homosexual.
Yes.
But I would say I remember my first time like experiencing attraction to a man. It's so weird. I don't know why I remember this. I remember I was watching like the Block is Hot video and all the like. I
I,
know.
I'm trying to follow you.
It, I'm trying to follow. I don't know what I saw then. I just be like, I remember in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, they could like their shirts were all they're like being kind of like masked. I was like, oh, this is hot. I was like, what is this? I think I was like maybe 7 at the time, but I was like, that's like my first actual memory of like remember like okay, there's that.
Yeah.
But then I think kind of growing up, I had this like kind of like interactions with like just people who are gay, but like they weren't out. And really kind of fighting, figuring out what is my sexuality because I was like, okay, well maybe I am gay. Then I would like try to be gay and do the things that are gay. I'm like, I don't like this. So like women, well, you know what? Maybe I'm just straight. Maybe I'm hetero flexible. It's like the word that like so wasn't hetero flexible because I'm like, I still like these boys out here, guys, all that. And I came across this is when YouTube was blowing up and when BuzzFeed was coming up.
Mhm.
I came across this article, like BuzzFeed video, talking about bisexuality, and so they posted like all these people and their experiences being bi. I was like, oh, there are people, there are adults, there are real people who are bisexual. And so when I really came to that determination, I think I was like maybe 22 or so.
Hmm.
And because at that, by the time I was 22, I had came out as a gay to like some of my friends and came out to mom, but I like took it back. Then I was like, well, I'm heteroflexible. But then by the time like I saw this video and did some more research, I was like, no, I'm actually I'm bisexual because I like both the genders. At the time, it was just man, woman. Now, obviously, it's more two or more genders is how I like to explain bisexuality.
Yes. Okay. Um, so before I start asking my own questions, let's
Mm-hmm.
dive into the questions that I have here already. What are some of the weird questions you get from people when you do let them know that you're bisexual?
Well, some of the common things we get is, okay, well, which one do you like, men or women more? Or like, are you sure? And like a lot of those questions, just the generic questions that you get all the time about being bisexual. And a lot of people ask me like my percentage of guy to girl. But I would say I think the weirdest one that I've thought about was last summer. And this is from a black woman. Last summer, we were celebrating my friend's birthday, and we're at this bar, and so the my friend, his girlfriend that he was dating at the time, she brought her friend, and so I was flirting with her because she's fine as hell, all that, and so with me, you can tell like I there when people look at me like he might not be straight. I don't know. So people, my thing, people are always unsure if I'm straight or
Yeah.
not, and so
Yeah.
they'll like they're not sure, because they find me attractive too. But anyway, so I'm talking to this girl and we're just hanging out, like I'm flirting with her, and then she showed me like her friend, who's a guy, clearly gay man,
Hmm.
clearly gay as hell, and she was like, "Oh, like what do you think about this guy?" I'm like, I don't. Well, I'm like, I don't know. Like, what do you? He looks cool. I knew what she was doing, but I was like,
Absolutely.
I don't
Yeah.
know. He
Yeah.
looks cool. He's all right. And she's like, okay. Well, like, would you like want to meet him? I'm like, I guess. Like, I'm like, I don't know. I really don't know. It's playing dumb to it, but she just kept on trying to like press me, ask me
Yeah.
weird questions like, do I want to meet him? Does he look cool? Do you find him attractive? All that stuff. All these like weird questions. Instead of upright asking me,
Asking, right.
are you gay? Are
Yeah.
you bi? Are you
Right.
straight? Like
Hmm.
instead of asking that, that was probably my weirdest interaction with
Yeah. I can
specifically
see
like
that being a
anybody.
thing. I can definitely see
So
that being a thing just because like yeah, like everybody's like, I have a gaydar. And I think that with certain people, yeah, you can there's things. I think that with you it's like is he? I don't get. I think he might be. Wait a minute.
and that
Okay, wait.
is bisexual energy.
Yeah.
That's the bisexual
Yes.
energy.
Yes, it's
Is
definitely
he?
that. It's definitely that. Like is he? What is okay. I just like, ma'am, I'm flirting with you, and you asking me about some nigga. I'm confused. Help me.
I I am confusion. I don't
Yes.
understand.
Like
I am confusion.
where did we cross our wires at? Because I thought I was okay.
I
What am
thought
I?
we because I'm grabbing up all up on you. So why are
Yes.
you like asking me about some random nigga that's not even here right now?
You
He
want to
ain't
know
here.
something
I'm
though? You want to
yeah.
know something? As a same gender loving trans man,
Mm,
one thing that I know for sure is that even though you see so many women, black women, talking about how they would never date a bisexual man,
mm,
they will absolutely pine and throw themselves all over a gay man. And I'm telling you this as a gay man. Like, I have women constantly like, Kaden, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm
really?
yes. And that's why the confusion happens for me, because even I just put out a video on TikTok yesterday where I was like, yeah, where are the butch lesbians, where are the studs? Because it was really just me being funny, but
Mm.
the women were really like, all right, so why just the studs? That's discrimination. And I'm like, well,
But baby, hold
so
on,
you don't care, so you don't care that I'm a bottom. You don't care that I'm a bottom. but
Nope.
bisexual John, you care all of a sudden. Like, I don't understand the biases there. And these are heterosexual. A lot of them are married. It's a very strange world that we live in, which kind of segues into my next question. So we've all seen like the recent conversations surrounding women dating bisexual men,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna dive into that, right? But out
Mm-hmm.
of curiosity, have you been outwardly rejected by women for being bisexual?
I would say I have not been outwardly rejected. Like nobody's saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be with you because you're bi," especially if it's in person. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I will say I have experience where I am on. There was this over COVID. I was part of this like group called Single Millennial Degree. It blew up on Twitter, so I decided to join on there. And so I had like we were end up talking about like this bisexuality, and all these women like because I posted about me, it was like, no, I wouldn't date a bi man, wouldn't do all this, but which is common, right? But I've
Yes,
never
very.
been specifically in person. They will not tell me that. But what they will do is they will treat me as if I am gay. So they'll talk to me as if I'm gay. They will treat me like, "Hey, girl,
Hey, friend.
hey, friend, hey, friend." All like all those the little microaggressions of
Yeah.
that, like
Mm-hmm.
basically, like, and so what I've done is I'll code switch. So I'll put on my very like very straight voice, kind of get like low, deep my voice, and be very straightforward. Like, "Hey, what's up? How y'all doing?" All that
Right.
stuff. So I'll change it up. But like I for women, I have not been directly, "John, not going to date you because you're bi," but definitely friend zoning me because of
Yeah.
my sexuality.
Yeah.
After they find out after the fact,
Yeah.
all that.
Where they were interested before, and so they try to either pull away or like, hey friend, like, so I
Mm-hmm.
want to, that's crazy. And so
Yeah.
what about men? Have any
Men,
men?
no, never had a
I
problem with a guy.
I knew that
Never.
was going to be the
Men,
answer.
yeah,
Yeah.
you like men are whores. They are easy.
Oh,
We're like,
Jesus Christ.
God, look. I'm outside. Like men, easy. They're just horny. Like, all right, are we gonna have sex?
Is that right? Like, are we
Yes or
doing
no?
this? I really don't care.
You're
Like,
bi. Okay, what about
what about it?
it?
Like,
What about it?
are we hiding from your baby mom? Like, what's happening? Like, that's,
Even if,
yeah, they don't
even
care.
if,
No, they're saying they just want to know the escape route. They don't care that they
yeah.
have to hide. And and I knew that when I was writing the question out. I was like,
Uh,
I know the answer, but the dynamic is strange. So that leads me into kind of where the waters get muddled for me, because why do you think that is? Why do you think so? What I've heard um in these conversations is women saying, well, I can't compete with no man,
yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't hear men saying, well, I can't compete with no woman. And so what do you think, why do you think these biases occur? And specifically as a Black man, why do you think it's so much more acceptable for, say, a woman to be bisexual than it is for a man? Why do you think that, you know, people are so much more open to um women being bisexual than men, especially in dating spaces? Like, why do you think that is?
Well, I mean, all the roads lead back to dating a man at the end of the day. All the roads lead back to like dating with the men and like the heteronormativity of that, right? Like everybody, it's I think the issue is kind of like how women view what they view as masculinity, right?
Mhm.
And specifically with Black women, specifically them, because they tend to lean more towards a masculine presenting man, very tall,
Yeah.
handsome, muscular, like got his shit together, all those things, right? And so it's really
Mhm.
how you view masculinity, sexuality, all that. And so I think the issue with women is that when they see that a man is willing to date another man, that is femininity in it of itself. Like that is not like, oh no, like you're not men enough for me, right?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
think that if you're doing a man, they always think that like you're a bottom, and
Yeah.
even if you are no bottom, I can't remember last time I bottom. Like no, there's
No
no
shade to
and
bottoms.
there's no shades of bottoms because they
Right.
y'all hold up the community. Because if there's no bottoms, there would be none.
Exactly.
But and
Exactly.
there's no shade, but like even regardless of that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
that's how they're viewing specifically men who are dating other men as you're not as masculine as I will hope as I want you to be. So if you are dating a man, absolutely not interested in that. Whereas with the men, they're already attracted to men, right? So they
Yeah.
already find men attractive, and there's no weird like masculine or femininity around that, and that's what they do look for, but within the gay community already.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I think is the issue between like being why it's so much more of an issue with women than it is with men.
Do you think that I think that the point about them thinking that um essentially that if you are interested in men at all, that means that you like dick.
Yeah.
And you are secretly craving dick all the time. Like you
Mm-hmm.
just dick, 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 dick. Even when you're with them, you're looking at them and lovingly in their eyes, and you're thinking dick, 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 balls, dick. Like
Booty hole.
booty. And it's like, man, you also have a booty hole, by the way.
Hey,
But
you got a whole booty hole.
but I want to like really like I think this is such an interesting conversation because um I think that's why so many women are confused. And not to center myself, but just my experience. So many cisgender women are confused when they find out that I date men.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, so do you date gay men? And my question to that is always, do you know a straight man that would want to date me? Like, let's be for real. And if he was straight, you would say that he was gay, right?
Right,
Um,
because
and then right, but they're always so shocked that gay men want to date me. And I think that is because they assume that all gay men want is penis. I ain't got no penis.
you, that's yeah, that makes sense.
I
They
don't
ain't
have a
got it.
penis. I don't have one. I mean, there's one somewhere in the closet. It's
You you
dusty,
you
probably.
gotta you gotta something you can build on. You gotta build on.
Yeah, yeah, right, exactly. And so it's mind blowing to them that there are gay men clamoring, literally clamoring, like in the inbox regularly, begging trans men, begging, 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 um, um, to even sniff what we got going on over here. I'm being serious. Trans men,
Wow.
trans men, if you're listening, sound off in the comments and tell me I'm lying. I'm telling you. And so there's always this shock because I think, again, they think that gay equals the aversion to vagina. And it's not that
Mm.
gay and bisexual men don't suddenly like vagina. It's that they want it to be attached to a, well, not bisexual men specifically, but gay men. They
Mm-hmm.
don't mind vagina if it's attached to a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, ooh, another hole. And this is
Bonus hole.
bottoms, tops, verts. Listen, it's not. I've turned many a bottom into a top, many a bottom into a top. So
Oh.
I think that if people would just let go of these ideas or these preconceived ideas that they have of people based off of sexuality and what they think it means, it would
Mm-hmm.
alleviate so much of the tension and all of the biases that happen, because you really could be rejecting or friend zoning your fucking soulmate because you think he wants dick. And honestly, he would probably love you to the moon and the stars, ma'am. And you over here rejecting him based off of you thinking that you would have to compete with somebody because you assume that bisexual men, one, only want dick, and that bisexual people are greedy and always want someone else.
Well, yeah, and like even if like we dive deeper into that. Like let's just say assume you're gonna be dating, you're a woman, you're dating a bi man,
Mhm.
and he does cheat on you, right? Like even if he does cheat on you, then that's nothing against all bi people. You can't pit that against all of us. Because let's really talk about cheating. Because the
Okay.
niggas that you done been with, right? The straight ones, the niggas that you've been with have cheated on you every single
Over
fucking
and
time,
over
and you are
again.
still dating the same kind of
The
niggas every
same
time.
exact kinds. And that's what I don't understand. I'll never understand it when it comes to marginalized communities. So
Mm-hmm.
a cisgender heterosexual woman dates a bisexual man and he cheats on her with a man. And suddenly you'll never date another bisexual man. But heterosexual men keep cheating on you and you keep dating heterosexual men. Same thing with people who date trans men. I dated this trans man and it was a horrible experience. So I'm never dating a trans man again. And I'm like, so you're just going to. And that's a thing that happens. Like when
Mm-hmm.
people date within marginalized communities, I've noticed that to be a thing. Why is it that when you're outside of a community, specifically when you're a part of a majority as a cisgender person or a heterosexual person,
Mm-hmm.
when you date somebody who is in a marginalized community, you treat us as though we're a monolith and that we're not individuals just like everybody else. Like that doesn't make very much sense to me. And I get it because I mean nobody wants to be fucking cheated on. That shit's it's
Yeah.
trauma. It's literal trauma. However, if you can continue to date these raggedy,
Dusty niggas. And then
no
the other
ass
thing,
wiping,
no ass wiping shit, dude, dookie stain draws.
stay
But
draws.
but like the other thing, as we look into that too, right? The other big misconception here, and that it's not said out loud all the time, but it is said that one of the common things I hear that women will say is they are concerned about their health. They're
And
concerned
these
about
men
their
don't
health.
get tested. These cisgender
These men,
heterosexual men don't get tested at all.
right? You're worried about me and getting HIV, which is let's be real. I'm gonna call it out. Getting HIV or STDs or anything is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
in my head. They're thinking concerned about
yes,
HIV. Number
absolutely,
one, you have no idea or education on how HIV works. Number
exactly,
two, I'm a prep, right?
right.
And even if I was positive, there like people can be undetectable. And if I'm
Yes,
hooking up with somebody, like we actually, if I'm having sex with men, who
yeah,
are also gay, they're more likely to be STD checked. They are more likely to be undetectable. They're more likely to like
absolutely.
be on prep. More likely they care a lot more about their sexual health. And so you're concerned. That's not really a concern for me. I know my shit too. When was the last time you've been tested? Is the
Right,
question.
right.
And when you're looking at these Dusty's men, every time you've gotten an STD, most likely if you're a cisgender woman only dating het men, is because they haven't been tested in probably years.
Or
And they've been
ever.
out here raw dogging the whole time because they dick don't hurt. So they're like, oh well,
Right.
I mean, I
Ain't no green shit
I'm
oozing
fine.
out of it. Right. When they make or when they're even making prep, they are not doing so with vagina havers in mind,
Nope.
which is why myself as a trans man, I can take Truvada, but I can't take Descovy. And that's because Descovy has never been tested on people who were assigned female at birth.
Wow.
And so they don't know if it'll work. So they will never prescribe it to me. It's strange because um, I don't I hear cisgender gay men talking all the time about the trade and how they be fucking the trade and all that shit. And they're telling these women, I am fucking your man. Like your man
Mm-hmm.
is getting bent over and they don't listen. And they would rather demonize the gay community. But I'm telling you, listen, ladies, I'm about to tell a secret. Download Jacked for one day
Ooh.
and your perspective on everything will change. At the very least, you'll start getting tested more, at least making these cisgender heterosexual men get tested as well. Because in my opinion, especially these days, the only difference between the bisexual man you refuse to date because you know he's bisexual and the heterosexual man that you prefer because you feel like he's heterosexual is that the bisexual man is telling the truth.
Every time we're telling the truth, and we are like, we care about our health. We
Yeah.
know all the ins and outs like of like STD, sexuality, and all of that. So we have your best interest in mind, and we're not as dangerous as a down low man if you find out that we've been with people because we're out in the open talking about it.
Exactly. And
Or
people don't
you
talk
find
about that.
we don't talk about that. Don't talk about that because like I've had to deal with my internalized like homophobia with myself as a
Mm-hmm.
man. I had to
Yes.
learn that like it's okay for me to date a man. It is
Right.
okay for me to marry a man. It is okay for me to be outwardly open about it. It is all okay. And so now I don't have that anger that's going to come with the down low men. Because once you
Yes.
come, I've seen so many reports and just like news articles where a woman was killed because she found out that her boyfriend was down low
Yep.
or like her husband was down low, was fucking men, all
Mm-hmm.
this stuff. There's no
Mm-hmm.
like you're not gonna get that. You're actually women, ladies, you're safer here with us in regards of that.
Yeah. And if you don't want to date bisexual men, just be abstinent, girl. That's the safest. That's the safest space for you. That don't go start bothering the lesbian because if you ain't licking no coochie cat, they don't want you neither. So
And
leave them alone.
also, they lesbians are crazy too. The craziest shit
I used to
that
be
I heard
one.
about being cheated on. Ooh, as you know,
I know.
man, like, the craziest shit that I done heard
Yeah.
about
Oh
being
yeah.
cheated on and having two, three, like always from a WLW, woman loving woman,
Mm-hmm.
every single time. I'm like, you
Wait, did you
she
see
did
that?
what?
Did you see that video? I'm sorry. Did you see that video of that girl who went to sleep and woke up with her lips glued together because her girlfriend went through her phone?
No.
Super glued. She super glued this young lady's lips together.
See? Mm-mm.
That is insane. Could you imagine
Insanity.
waking up? Okay.
Mm.
And she recorded it. Yo, that was too funny. I'm
You gotta
sorry.
send me that. Send me
Yeah.
that. Send me that.
Yes, I
Send
will.
me
I
that.
definitely will. Okay, so let's go into relationships, or I don't know if
Mm,
you've ever been, I won't assume you've ever been into a relationship or had dealings, dating,
I
whatever.
have.
Okay.
Mm.
So have you ever been in a relationship with someone who was like, yeah, like you obviously you're upfront with your sexuality. So, I'm really speaking on women because we already know how men
But yeah,
usually
man,
are.
don't give a shit. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever been in a relationship with a woman who or dated a woman who was like, yeah, they're perfectly fine, and y'all get into the trenches with things, and while y'all are dating, they were displaying insecurities. And what I mean by that is like checking to see if you're checking out men, or you go to the beach and there's topless men and you're out there, and instead of worrying about instead of worrying about the women, they're making sure that you're not looking at men more so than anything. Have you ever
Hmm.
experienced anything like that?
Yeah. So my ex, she because I was out at the time, and this was like years ago though.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were dating. I was out. Like I let her know that like I'm bi, all that. She's like, "Oh, it's so perfectly fine." All those things, like all good. And so I, I at the time was definitely still in my like, when you come out, you're like, "Oh, I'm loud and proud. I'm all this." I was still very
Yeah.
much like in that phase where I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm out.
Absolutely.
People got to
Yes.
know that I'm bi. You know what
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
saying? You need to know. So I
Yeah.
was still making those posts like that and just talking about it. And she was just like kind of like say things like, "Oh, I saw that post. Like it's kind of making me like a little uncomfortable because being bi means you're talking about cheating." Oh, if I'm talking about being bi, and that means like, oh, you're kind of dating, still interested in dating men, women, whatever. Kind of being viewed like talking about my
I get what you're
sexuality
saying.
means like I'm still single, but like I obviously clearly have her. And so the other things that would happen was just kind of little microaggressions, like whenever we go out, and like I like when I would wear like gay-ish things, right? Like a see-through shirt, right? She's kind of like,
Oh,
oh,
okay.
like hey, like a see-through shirt, like sheer shirt, all that stuff, and like short shorts, things like that, right? Or I would get my nails painted with her, like all these things. She would say she's fine with it, but like kind of make little small things like, oh, are you sure you want to wear that? Are you sure like you like right? Bad relationship. Just like very small microaggressions, things like that. And I felt like she was kind of forcing me into being like a very straight man.
Yeah,
Also,
that's what it
like
sounds like.
very, very much forcing me to do that. Like, all right,
Mhm.
like she wants me to like take her, like pay for dinner, pay for everything, not which is fine. But I'm like, I can't pay for everything. I'm only 25 at the time.
Yeah,
Like,
right, right.
pay for everything, which again, I have no issues with paying for stuff. I like to pay for things here and there, like
Hmm.
majority of stuff. Don't worry, ladies. I'll still pay for dinner. I'll pay for all that. But like, there's the super like role that like your general role of being a man that you need to take care of everything,
Yes.
right?
Hmm.
And I just started feeling very, very uncomfortable with that. And I gotta say, I'm so sorry. This was a white girl. This is the last white girl. I know. Don't do it. Don't look at me like that. There's,
No, I'm just kidding.
I know this, but she. After that, I was like, I will never date a white woman. I am like, we're not doing that.
You
Again,
know, it's
this is years
crazy.
ago.
As you were telling me this story, I'm a person that like really pictures things when people tell stories. I was picturing a white girl already. I don't know why. Not it has nothing to do with you. I don't know. I think that I think it's mainly because she knew that you were bisexual and she still dated you. And
And
so
that's another topic. That's another thing.
yeah,
Let's get in that a little bit after this.
yeah.
So it basically like we ended things and not good. And years later, she came back to me and like actually like talked to me, and we talked to like apologized to each other about how it all went. And she was like, "Yeah, I felt like I was actually keeping you away from being your true self, and
Hmm.
in the sense of like allowing me to like express my sexuality, especially like my fluidity in how I dress and everything." And she was like, "We actually were not meant to be together."
Yeah.
So that was good. That was good to have a conversation with her years later after that. But yeah, I've definitely been in like other situations where people say they're okay, but then like they just become like not okay with it.
I mean, and I want to make it clear when I'm having conversations like this that I'm not a perfect person. And
Mm-hmm.
I like having these conversations because I know I still hold a lot of biases and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's ingrained in us. It's what we're taught. When something is instilled in you, it's really hard to let go of your initial slapstick reaction that you want to have. And a lot of the times, well, we've already been conditioned that when we get in a relationship that person is basically our property. And so we get super possessive over them. And, you know, like I guess, when I was listening to you, she wanted you to be heterosexual because you were with her. You can be
Mm-hmm.
bisexual after we break up if we break up, but right now you're heterosexual. And so you can't say that you're bisexual because if you say you're bisexual on public platforms, you're inviting men to date you.
Mm-hmm.
You're inviting men to hit on you. And I'm already insecure because they're men and I can't compete with men. We've already had that conversation, right? And so that is a very like when you think about it, it's a very layered thing because that's another side of it. Like, so women, it's like, I'll date you. Yes, I like you, I date you. You have to be heterosexual while we're together, though.
Yep, basically lose, and that's not who I am. I
Right.
will never be a heterosexual. I won't be.
Yeah.
I don't want to be.
Right.
I can't. And so just even from that experience, I've learned that like I don't think I would date a heterosexual woman. Like just not a cisgender heterosexual woman. So I won't do that. Right.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of those biases that you talk about, and they're just still a lot of them are not super comfortable with me still. Cause I'm always gonna do some gay shit. I'm gonna go to the gay clubs. I'm gonna go to the gay bar.
The
I'm
gay
always gonna like
clubs are more fun, y'all. I'm sorry.
and it's you safer there. They're not about
Yeah.
to touch you. They ain't gonna hit on you. I'm gonna get us some free drinks for us. Like, don't worry about that. I'm
Right.
gonna get it. I
And
got it this
honestly, if
time.
you're a woman in a gay bar, you probably don't need a man to help you get free drinks, and you do not have to worry about anybody expecting sex with you at the end of the night. We just gonna get you drunk because well, I don't drink anymore, but we like to stay lit, and we want everybody around us to be lit. So you probably gonna get free drinks anyway, and everybody's dancing, and it's not a bunch of people standing around staring at each other. It's just a
It,
good time.
it's a good time. And also, I will add this though. there may be bisexual men who may want to talk to
Yeah,
you though.
true, true,
So
true, true, true,
don't
true, true,
forget
true,
that
true.
I'm there.
Yeah,
Because sometimes
yeah.
I done found me a nice
No,
one at
I've
the gay club.
definitely I've definitely gone to gay bars with my friends, my straight girlfriends, and it'll be there without fail. There's always a man in there, at least a few men
A
who, especially
handful.
if you would a bad one, he's going to be right there ready, and they get drink after drink after drink after drink, but he might be expecting because a nigga going
Oh,
one of the things one of my sayings is the one thing a nigga always gonna do is nig. So
a nigga gon' nig,
they gonna
nig,
nig.
nig, nig.
They gonna nig. So to the cliche question that I'm sure everybody's asking, you actually already touched on this. Do you have a preference as to who you tend to be more attracted to?
I think there's a big difference between attraction and like who I would like to date,
Yes,
relationship wise. So there's a big difference there. So
absolutely.
as far as attraction, I find everybody attractive. I'm I'm the pass around friend. I'm easy. So I and like
It.
I'm the pass around friend. Like just like I'm like that's yeah, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
anybody,
yeah.
most people. So when it comes to that, I don't think there's really a big attraction difference.
Hmm.
There are different types that I'm attracted to, obviously.
Yeah,
But when it comes to actually dating somebody, I think I have a harder time wanting to date a man, and not simply because they're a man. It's more so because of like you already know it's the things that come with dating a man, right? They're a lot more just insecure about a lot of other things outside of my sexuality, and they're not really a lot of times like really mature enough to date. Like I'm so sorry. Like here, I've tried to talk to several men who are here, like in New York,
hmm,
and I'm like, how are you 38 and you still don't know how to fucking communicate?
yeah.
Number
Hang that
one,
up. Hang it up.
hang it up. So there's like a lot of other small issues, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
men just annoy the hell out of
I
me.
get it.
Now,
As
so
somebody who dates men, I don't even want to date them. So
I don't, nobody wants to date a man.
yeah.
Nobody. So I would say I lean more towards dating women
Hmm.
just simply because of the fact of like I put a lot of work on myself. I've been
Yeah.
in therapy for several years. I like know how to communicate. I know how to do all these things. Like I've worked on myself so much, and typically you're gonna find that in a woman more so than a man, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
so I think as far as dating prospects, I will lean more towards the women, and that is just simply because of that,
Yeah. And
not gender thing.
it's I get exactly what you're saying, and this is where the beauty of being a trans man comes into play, because as somebody who was I was raised as a girl, I was not raised as a
Mm-hmm.
man, and we know that even emotionally, we've as a society tend to raise boys differently than we raise girls.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that I have a lot more depth and emotional maturity. That I'm 37. I'll be 38 in less than 2 months. And I'm like dating older men now, like when we were
Mm-hmm.
in our 20s, okay, got you. But you're 41 and don't know how to have a conversation. And you think that somebody expressing themselves to you is an argument. And I'm just like mind blown because I'm trying to do mental gymnastics to get you to understand basic ass shit. And so what ends up happening is they do this weird thing where, because I do have emotions and I have emotional maturity and I'm able to express my emotions, they say I'm acting like a girl.
Oh, I know that triggers the hell out of you. That triggers the hell out of you. Oh, I know it. I know it. I already know because I'm just
Yes.
kind of like, all I did was say, hey, you did X. It made me feel like Y. Let's come to the conclusion.
Hello.
Let's
Hello.
talk it out. And that's it. And like I've had to do this, like I did this with this woman before,
Mm-hmm.
where I just basically like said, hey, you invited me to this thing and you're not giving me a good enough response. Use your words. Please
Yes.
use your words.
Yes.
I know that ate her up coming from a man. They ate her
Use your
ass
words.
up.
I said
I
that
was,
to said that to this woman, and she was like, "Stop talking to me like I'm a child." Well, put on
oh,
your list. You put on your goddamn listening ears. Damn it.
we don't even goddamn listeners. Use your words. But even just with men too, like I've learned there isn't like any big like age where people magically become emotionally mature,
Exactly.
right? Even with the men, even with the
Yeah.
women,
Yeah.
there are people who have done the work on themselves and like made the effort to become a better person and be able to communicate their emotions. And there's no age to that, you know.
There
Well,
is no
there
age
is
to
an
that.
age, there's a minimum age, 25 at least, you
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah.
yeah,
There's a minimum age. But
a
like,
minor.
right. Oh God. Shit. Um, we're not going to talk about that, Kaden. Stay
All
away
right,
from
I'm
that
so
topic.
sorry. All right, we're not talking about that. All right,
Kendrick Lamar bodied Drake.
body.
Okay, the end.
Okay.
So um, so I definitely I feel that, and I just feel like part of me feels empathy because as a person who dates cisgender men, I realize like it's not really y'all's fault if you haven't decided to do the work. If you don't know any better, you can't do any better.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men are brought up to just not have emotional depth. They're just brought up that way. And I do hope, I implore you all to please go seek therapy. Therapy does not mean that there's something wrong with you. But there's nothing wrong with working on yourself, and you could find out some new shit about yourself that you didn't even know. But everybody else ain't the problem. I'm just saying. I
Mm-hmm.
just I just had to throw that out there. So, um, what are your thoughts on people referring to bisexual people as greedy?
Now, here's what I will tell other LGBT people. Hell yeah, I'm the greedy bisexual. You know, I want it all. I want it all. I want it all. I want this, that, that, and other. But I
Right.
mean, like, but like in reality, if I am talking to like a cisgender heterosexual person and like, oh, well, you're greedy, I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, I just, if anything, there are less people for me to date than being straight, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many people who are like you who are
Yes.
saying that I have the issue, you have issue with me being bi. That makes it less greedy for me. But overall, like we're not greedy. We just so happen to be attracted to both genders.
Like you
That's
can't
it.
help who you're attracted to.
Yeah, and if we don't want everything, and just because I'm bi does not mean that I am poly. That doesn't mean like I
Ex-
am very much. I believe that I'm a monogamous person. I don't want. I already don't date a lot, so I don't want to keep dealing with multiple people. So
right.
I'm a very like no. Just because I say that doesn't mean that
And
I
even
am
poly
big
people.
open. Yeah,
It's not like polyamorous and not there's different dynamics to polyamory as well. So
yeah.
like it's like it's like for me, I tell people all the time, like we can sit here and we can all act like everybody's just super heterosexual. The thing about it is you're attracted to who you're attracted to, and you'll date who you'll date. And what I mean by that is bisexual people just happen to be willing and attracted to enough to be
Mm-hmm.
willing to date more than one gender. Whereas for me, I can definitely find a woman attractive. I'm like, damn, she bad as hell. Do
Yeah.
I want to sleep with her and or date her? No.
I just
No, I
happen
do
to want to
not.
do it all. You know, that's it.
That's the difference. That's the difference. Like, and if you can't wrap your head around that, that's fine, but that doesn't make somebody else wrong or greedy. Like, and I really want people to get out of that space. Um, all right. So this is the last big question, and then any ending remarks and all that good stuff. So let's get back to the recent conversations on social media surrounding women dating bisexual men. How did that make? I saw your video specifically, so I kind of already know how you feel. I mean, I'm sure you didn't get into like depth on it because I mean it's TikTok. But how did it make you feel to see so many women making think pieces about how they would never date a bisexual man?
I mean, you know, the 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 thing that I think about that whenever people are having these thoughts and having these think pieces, they just don't have the depth. They don't have the depth in their mindset, right? And so I now that like I used to argue on the internet a lot more. I don't like to argue on the internet anymore. And honestly, that shit just doesn't bother me because I'm like I can't make you think deeper than what you already know. You're
Right.
thinking that you're right. You're looking at only like one way. You these people are not asking themselves, why do I think this way? Why do I think? And that is something that I'm gonna tell you just about me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought about like why are things the way
Yeah.
they are.
Mm-hmm. Same.
That's just how it was.
Same.
I'm assuming you're the same. And these are things that these people just don't have.
Don't.
They don't have it. They don't care to know about it. They like to live their life as is. I
Mm-hmm.
question everything.
Yeah.
If you and every time if you're listening to this, you should always question why do you do the things that you do? Why do you think the way that you think? Is it your own thoughts? Have you come to your own conclusion for this, or is it because you were taught by your parents or your family has the same idea?
Or the
Your
church.
friends have the same. Your church, all these
Mm-hmm.
other things. Think for yourself. These
Were
people
you
are not
taught
thinking for
this thing,
themselves.
or do you actually believe it? You know,
Yeah,
and that's why the conversation always ended at, but it's just a preference. And I'm like, okay. And it
yeah.
don't matter how you say it. You can, I literally, when I made my video, I literally said, you can have your preference. Nobody's saying you have to date bisexual men ever. You never have to. But you should also acknowledge that that preference is rooted in biphobia and homophobia. No, it's not. I just don't want to date. I just told you you don't have to date them.
You don't have to
Why are we
dig
still having this?
deeper.
Why do you
Just dig
why
deeper.
why don't you want to date them? Because I don't want to compete with the man. Well, you compete with women every day.
Yeah. So why? What's the difference? Uh, come on. What's the
Because
difference?
let's put things into perspective here. If your man wants some dick, he can either get it from a man or he can get it from a woman. If he
He
want,
sure can.
nothing is going to make him want dick less. If he wants dick, nothing's going to make him cheat less. Getting cheated on is getting cheated on. I get that it's more of a blow for y'all if it's with another man for whatever damn reason that is. Maybe if you stopped viewing, and it all boils down to this, and nobody wants to accept this in these conversations. It all boils down to the fact that you think a man with another man equals weakness.
Yep.
And you see these men as less than men, and therefore you could have been, because if you see this man and you're like, damn, he fine,
Mm.
like he seems to have a good head on his shoulders. He just said he went through the work. He did all the therapies. He's coming to you healed and with emotional intelligence. And the only reason you won't date him is because he's bisexual.
Come
You
on
need to
now.
unpack that. You need to unpack
Look
that.
deeper. Look deeper. Unpack that. Why is that holding you back from you being in a healthy, comfortable relationship that you could
Let me
just
let me
be
tell you
with
something.
somebody and feel good? You know? But why?
Hello, hello,
Unpack.
hello, hello. As so, I'm again 37 years old. I would do anything right now if it meant a healthy relationship
Mm-hmm.
with someone that I actually am attracted to, that I actually like. Pansexual, bisexual, omnisexual, demisexual,
All the
asexual,
sexual. Come on.
whatever sexual we need to be, we need to be. At this point, the dating pool has piss, shit, and throw up in it. And y'all
Oh
are
God.
literally out here passing up good men because they're bisexual. Think about the biases that you have and the phobias. And please understand what the definition of phobia is. It's not fear of, it's aversion to. If you don't know what aversion means, Merriam Webster is your friend.
Google. Hell.
Okay. Yeah. Just type in defined aversion. If you don't know how to spell it, it's going to, as long as you get close enough, spell it
It's gonna
phonetically.
figure it out.
Google will figure it out for you. All right.
Use your text to speech.
Okay, right.
Aversion, please.
Aversion. I don't understand. Anyway, see,
We're about to go.
I was about to go over there. Okay, so I think this is a great conversation. If you're still listening, which I hope you are, you should be working or doing something, clean the house. That's when you listen to this, right? So I want you to let us know what you're thinking about this conversation. Any points that you might have come up with in your brain while we were talking. Um, I'm pretty, John, are you single?
Very much single. Single as
John is
hell.
single. If you're feeling like you want to shoot your shot, what is your social media again?
All right. The social media for Instagram is where you're gonna get me at the easiest because I stay on there day in and day out. It's the THE John John Brooks Brooks Jr. Jr. That's it. It says K-City, New York, your local bisexual king. You're going to follow me on TikTok. I don't post a lot on there, but I'll be on there swiping. The
Mhm.
TikTok is going to be John, JOHNB as in boy, the THE Jr. That's it. That's where you can find me.
So whether or not you want to shoot your shot, or if you just want um, to learn some more stuff about bisexual people, or if you just want to be a supporter and support this man because you should, make sure y'all give him a follow. Again, let us know how you like this episode. Um, if you want more episodes covering this topic, let me know. Again, if you have any ideas for stuff that you'd like to hear me talk shit about, also let me know. Um, yeah, make sure you interact, share. Again, if you only have 2.5 followers, I know I said 3.5. Somebody might have felt left out. 2.5. However many followers you have, share it. A share is free. Thank you all for listening and supporting. Was there anything you'd like to add, John?
No, no, nothing like that, Ab. But thank you for having me today. I really appreciate it. Nice meeting you in person.
Yes.
And that's it. Love talking shit.
Yes. So thank y'all again. And always, always remember, if you don't remember anything else, we don't owe you shit.
Hmm.
Peace.
Peace.